Example 190. Test the claim at the 5% significance level that all 4 of the treatments produce the same median weight for popular trees grown from seedlings. All right, so you can look at the data here and you can tell that it's a completely randomized design. They have 4 treatments. They have, essentially none or a control group, a group that gets fertilizer, a group that gets irrigation, a group that gets both fertilizer and irrigation at the same time. And they're essentially 4 independent samples that we're looking at. And when we do the problem, we're going to use a non-parametric procedure called the Kruskal-Wallis H-Test. So this would be analogous to the ANOVA Completely Randomized Design or CRD experiment, but we're doing a non-parametric version of that. So we're going to start out with a claim, and I've already written it in here because it's just regurgitated directly from the statement here. It says test the claim that all 4 treatments produce the same median weight for poplar trees grown from seedlings. All right, so that's our claim, but if you want to express HO and HA from that claim, we're going to use the kind of similar approach that we used in the ANOVA CRD. In other words, for these problems, the HO is always going to essentially be that all the medians are the same. We had mean in the previous problems, now we're going to be dealing with the median, but it's the same idea. So we'll say, hey, the median for the none group is equal to the median for the fertilizer group, is equal to the median for the irrigation group, is equal to the median for the group that uses both, right? So all the medians are the same versus at least 2 of them differ significantly. So at least 2 differ from each other, you can say, from each other. Okay, so that's the same as we had pretty much for the ANOVA CRD, except for we're replacing means with medians. All right, now once we have that laid out, the next step would be to rank the data. So you want to say rank the data next. Now I've already ranked the data, and you want to rank it as if it's all from one source, right? So in other words, I'm not going to pay attention to these columns here as dividers. I'm just going to treat the whole sample as if it's all one big pile of numbers, and I'll rank them all according to their size. Once I've done that, though, I then go ahead and divide them up separately again into their columns, and I total the ranks in each column to come up with a rank total. And that's what you see that I've placed down here. I've placed the rank totals for each of these groups, right? So we've done ranking before. This takes a long time, so I just went ahead and did it for us to save us some time. And then I totaled up the ranks because, hey, that's just adding. And I figured, you don't want to waste your time watching me do that. You know how that's done. But once you have all the ranks done, and by far that's probably the most time-consuming of this process, to get all the ranks and then to add them all up. Once you have these rank totals, you're going to take them and plug them into your test stat formula. So let's write out your test stat formula. Your test stat formula is pretty complicated, but it's not hard to work with. So it looks complicated, but it's very easy to use. So the test stat is going to be called H. That's for the Kruskal-Wallis H-Test. And then we're going to have 12 divided by the overall sample size times 1 more than that overall sample size. Then we're going to have something that looks very similar to the ANOVA procedure when we were doing the sum of squares for treatments, but this time it's going to be the rank totals for the first treatment squared divided by the sample size for that treatment, plus the rank total for the second treatment squared divided by its sample size, plus ... all the way down to the last treatment or the kth treatment divided by its sample size, right? All right, and then from there you're going to just subtract off 3 times n plus 1. Okay, so let's go ahead and plug all that in now based on what we have in this problem. So the overall sample size is just how many values we had, right? So if you look at it, we have 5 in each of these columns. We have 4 columns, so that's going to be 20. So our test stat H is going to turn out to be 12 over 20 times 21, right? Times the rank total for the first treatment, which for us is 45, right? And then we're going to square that and divide by the number of values in that column. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 values in the column, right? Okay, and then we'll have 37.5 squared, 37.5 squared divided by 5 plus 42.5 squared divided by 5 plus 85 squared divided by 5. The logic is pretty straightforward here. If one of these is really significantly bigger than the other, then it indicates perhaps maybe this technique has a better overall yield or produces a heavier overall weight of poplar trees, right? minus 3 times, so you can see this 85, back to what I was getting at, you can see this 85 kind of stands out. That might be enough evidence to reject the null hypothesis. We'll see based on what the test out becomes, right? Now 3 times n plus 1 is 21, so we'll have that. All right, let's plug that into our calculator, see what it gives us then. So we're going to have in the first part of the expression, and I want you to be careful when you do this, it's one area that a lot of people mess up on. So you want to do 12 divided by, use parenthesis here, 20 times 21, right? And then when you're done, you can either hit enter and write that out and then plug it in, or you can just take that and then multiply it by whatever follows. So I'm going to use parentheses. It'll have 45 squared divided by 5 plus 37.5 squared divided by 5 plus 42.5 squared divided by 5 plus 85 squared divided by 5. Very important you don't make any typos here because they could be detrimental, obviously, right? It'll ruin all your hard work prior to that. Then 3 times 21, so it'd be 63, or you can just type in 3 times 21. Okay, when you're done, you get a total here for h. So h works out to be approximately equal to 8.214, right? So there's your test stat, 8.214. Now with that test stat, we're going to want to compare it against a critical value, right? So how do I know if this is large enough to conclude that we should reject the null hypothesis? Well, the only way to know is to compare it against a test stat. It turns out that this guy has a chi-squared distribution. So when I draw my little curve as a visual aid, I'll draw kind of a highly skewed right-tailed curve. That's what the chi-squared curve looks like, right? And then we're going to have a chi-squared critical value here. Now it turns out the chi-squared critical value is going to have a certain degrees of freedom. First we're going to have alpha, and then we're going to base our degrees of freedom on just k minus 1. In other words, the number of treatments that we have minus 1. Here we have 4 treatments, take away 1, we'll have 3. So for us, the alpha is 5%. So we're going to have essentially the same as chi-squared 0.05 with 3 degrees of freedom because we have 4 treatments, take away 1, we get 3. All right, so what we need to do then is go to our chi-squared table. We're going to go to the 0.05 column. We're going to look up 3 degrees of freedom and see what that gives us. Let's go do that right now. Okay, so we're at our chi-squared table. We're looking for the 0.05 column with 3 degrees of freedom. That's not any of these values, so we're going to go to the second page of the table. And we find 0.05 with 3 degrees of freedom to give us 7.81473. That's 7.81473. Okay, so we found the answer to be 7.81473. 7.81473. So that's our critical value. And then from there, we're going to look at our test stat. It's a little bigger, right? So this 8 value will end up falling in to our rejection region. So we're going to end up landing over here, and we're going to say that we reject the null hypothesis, and therefore we support the alternative. So we reject HO, and therefore we support HA. And with that, when we look back here, we'll say, hey, the HO doesn't seem to be valid, so we're going to support this idea. And so essentially the claim is going to be what? Since our claim is the same as HO, we're going to say that we should reject the claim, right? Remember, the claim said all 4 treatments produce the same median weight. Well, we're rejecting the null hypothesis, which says they're all the same, so we're essentially rejecting the claim. So we're going to say the sample data allows us to reject the claim that they all produce the same median weight. And if I had to guess, it's probably because here, this both category has much higher ranks overall, which means this produced a much higher, say, median or average weight for the poplars that were given that combination of fertilizer and irrigation. All right, and that's it.